the mic on? It is on. I invite everyone to come a little closer. I always enjoy having Rachel in the room because she's always near the front row. And no leaders sit up front. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to What's Wrong with Bananas. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to especially thank Kim for inviting me and putting this together. And I will say that I enjoyed reading the book. I read it once, I heard it once, so I've been through it twice. And one of the things that struck me, of course, when she talks about a lot of things. I mean, we could be talking about living off the land. We could be talking about homegrown foods. We could be talking about reducing the carbon footprint, the poor tobacco farmer, actually making a change of career from going from a career to a homemaker. And we could be talking about nutrition for the family. And this is one of the things that interests me, that part, nutrition for the family. Somebody needs to look after nutrition for the family. And bananas is mentioned one time in the book, on page 33, chapter 2. It's a chapter on asparagus. And it's a time where they're actually waiting for asparagus to blossom, to actually grow, where they can pick some asparagus. And it's, I think, April. And so Barbara has all of her family in her room, and we're going over the grocery list. And so she's saying, okay, I'm going to let everybody have one luxury item. Now the idea is we're going to get foods from a 100-mile radius of where we live, locally grown foods. And so she's going to give everybody one luxury item. Now on page 33, what she says is that pineapples and bananas are the Humvees of the plant world. What does that mean? Well, what that means is that we have to burn a little fuel, burn some gasoline in order to get them to where we are, because we don't grow bananas, at least not commercially here in the United States. Typically they're grown 20 degrees north or 20 degrees south latitude in the tropics. And the largest producer of bananas, which I didn't realize, India, by far, 16 million tons a year. And second behind India, Ecuador. Yeah, small country, Ecuador. Has to be around the equator, of course. So she says, okay, tell you what, we can all pick one luxury item. So I'm thinking to myself, one luxury item, wow, okay, somebody's going to pick some nice nutritious things here that you can't get locally grown in Virginia. So the male adult, Stephen, he selects coffee. Well, I don't know. I know there's quite a carbon footprint with getting coffee over here in the United States. Most of it's grown in Africa, but I'm not sure about the food value, the nutritional value of coffee. I guess you could subsist on coffee for a long time. And so then Camille, probably the only sensible one in the group, a 19-year-old, she's been begging for fresh fruit all along. Of course, Barbara's crossed that off the list. We can't do that. We can't grow it here in Virginia, certainly not in the winter. We might have some apples in the summer, some cherries, but Camille opts for dried fruit. In other words, she's trying to get the whole spectrum of fruit. The problem is when you dry fruit, you actually do what? You extract the fluid, you degrade the vitamin C, you degrade the minerals and enzymes that are in there, and you end up 10 times the amount of calories. So you have 100 grams of dried fruit versus 100 grams of fresh fruit. You have 10 times the caloric value in it too. So it was a good effort. Lily, of course, the fourth grader, we can't expect too much there. Hot chocolate. You probably can survive on chocolate a little longer than you could coffee. Nutritional value is pretty weak. And then finally, Barbara, her selection was spices. Turmeric, cloves, cinnamon. So someone who's going to be in charge of the kitchen is going to be chopping and cooking and boiling all the enzymes and all the good vitamins and minerals out of the food. Sure, we're going to have to salt and pepper it a little bit in order to make it taste good, so that kind of makes sense. But the nutritional value escapes me. So this is why you don't put ketchup on a banana. You don't have to. So if we can look at our second slide here, Kim. Probably in order to see that, we need the lights a little dimmer, but here is Stephen sipping his coffee. I'm sure he's pleased with that. You coffee drinkers out there, I know it's hard to give up. And the next slide. Now, bananas have sometimes been referred to as nature's perfect food. Now, they're not perfect, we know that. In fact, I don't need to see it too much. Probably can't see the camera over here, but the camera can't see me. Yeah. Bananas aren't real social. I know they're not perfect because they're not real social. I'll ask you this question kind of so you'll know what I mean. Why did the banana go out with a prune? Couldn't find a date. So they're not, they're not perfect. We know that. But they are the most popular fruit in the world. The most popular fruit. And the fourth most important staple item, which about 500 million people depend on. You have, of course, rice and wheat and corn, and then bananas, number 4. The primary importers of bananas, number 1, Ecuador. Number 2, Costa Rica and Brazil, pretty close second. This is the exporters. Exporters, I'm sorry, I may have said importers. The number 1 importer, Europe. They import about 29%. In the United States, about 27% of all the world's imports of bananas.